good drama is not just acting. I'm mad. I'm sad. Anybody can do that. Okay. A good dramatist is a storyteller, is a communicator. And one of the things that they communicate is emotion. There are a lot of cultures all throughout the world, and including biblical culture, if you think of the Old Testament, that are storytelling cultures. This is the way they communicate their history. And if you think of it, it makes so much more sense. Americans like facts. So you have a history book, and it's like, this year, this person, this is what he did. This year, this person. And so you memorize a bunch of dates, and it's like, okay, from 1860 to 1864, the Civil War happened, and the North fought the South, and 500,000 people died. It was sad. For real? Like, you could talk for a year about the Civil War. 500,000 people died. There were only about 13 million people in the entire United States. 500,000 people died. It was horrible. It was just all these kids, drummer boys, blah, 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 blah. There's so much to say. I've read a book about this thing, about the Civil War, and it didn't even scratch the surface. So history, you tell through stories, you learn things, and you kind of jump into things. If you've ever read, how many of you've ever gotten sucked into a book so much that when you got done, you had to look up and you were like, where am I? Who am I? Because for a minute there, I was a soldier under George Washington's army, or I was, Princess Elizabeth and her dad had just cut off her mom's head. Talking about a dysfunctional family, just like, that's a fact. Henry VIII and his 8 wives, he cut off this one's head, he cut off this one's head, and it's like, oh, that's very interesting. Imagine being Elizabeth, and your sister wants you to die, and your father killed your mother, and you're like in prison sometimes and in the castle sometimes, and maybe you'll be the queen, or maybe you'll be beheaded. Can you imagine what that's like as a kid? And I remember reading this book about her when she was little, and it totally changed me. It was so cool because I'm in it. I'm in the castle, and who doesn't want to be a princess in a castle? The thing that convinced me I didn't was they had these gorgeous dresses, right? Ooh, that'd be so much fun. Well, item 1, there's no bathrooms in the castle. Think about that for a minute. Item 2, they would stick these pads of fur in their dresses in the hopes that the fleas would hang out on the fur instead of on their skin. Just like, never mind, I like it here, where there's toilet paper and fast food and pizza. So you get to communicate in a way through stories, through acting out stories, through telling stories, in a way that can pull your audience in a way, if you're really, really good, they're going to feel something. And if you're really, really good, they're going to kind of become you. And they're either going to feel with you, so like put themselves in your place, or they're going to feel for you. You know how it is like when you watch a really good movie, you usually relate to like one of the characters? Anne of Green Gables. There's people who relate to Anne of Green Gables, and then there's others who are like more Diana kind of people who probably don't watch Anne of Green Gables. But you relate to somebody, you're like, oh, that's me. And so you're experiencing all these things while you're watching it. That's the kind of character you want to be. Now, sometimes you want people to connect with you. Sometimes you just want them to feel what you want them to feel through the story. So today, instead of doing Rachel's part, we are going to do Will's part. Now, Will's part in this play, in the beginning, it's about 30 seconds, but it's super duper important. And if Will does his part right, he's going to capture the audience and start the play well. That's a big responsibility. He's going to get shot. Sounds fun. Okay, let's do it. So, the first scene is going to be so cool because we're going to have like hundreds of people who came here, and most of them is like, oh, I know a kid in the play. That'll be nice. We'll come and watch. Yay. And they don't have high expectations, probably. Like when you come and watch little kids, and it's like, oh, they're going to be cute no matter what. Well, we are going to blow them away. Hopefully in a good way. Okay. So, Pastor Chambers is we're going to have this big screen. And so instead of, they're going to be like, oh, this is a play about Fanny Crosby. She was blind. Okay, that'll be interesting. The play starts out in the middle of the Civil War. Boom! So there's going to be cannon going off and all these sounds of the battle. And so it's like, wait, what? What's happening here? And 2 soldiers are going to show up. Andrew's one of them. Andrew, hope you get better soon, especially before the play. And they're going to come up and they're saying general, war kind of things. So everybody's curious probably, but they're not emotionally involved yet. Just kind of like, oh, this is interesting. Then Will shows up. Now Will is 12-year-old drummer boy. Okay, if you're going to be in drama, it's one thing to know your lines. It's another thing to know your character. Why is a 12-year-old boy in a battle in the Civil War?
Well, because that's all that they had. They didn't really have the necessary men, so they used boys.
Okay.
Their families were like they couldn't provide for them.
Oh,
So
maybe
they
that.
sent them to the war.
See, that's interesting. These are two totally different stories. Yeah. Yeah.
Or if the boy wanted adventure, so he ran away from home and became a drummer boy.
Okay. That's kind of the way I see it. It's like he's this 12-year-old kid. There were all these kids that, all these soldiers that went to the war. But the drummers were not soldiers. And it wasn't like drummer boy as in, let me play you a song. Come, they told me. You know, it's not like that. It was the marching. Their job was to do bump, 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 and then go faster, and others so that because back then all the soldiers walked in a line and then they shot each other. It was really dumb, but that's what they did. And so the drummer's job was to keep them going. So they didn't get to fight. And so there were boys who would come and they got to be part of the war, but supposedly they were safe. Now once people start shooting, there's a huge cloud of dust. People are panicking, terrified. They're just shooting in a general direction of the enemy. How's the drummer boy gonna be safe? Kids died. So here's Will. Thanks. He shows up. Okay, so here's the two soldiers, and they're like, oh man, and this is like the first battle of their life, you know, so they're 18, 19, they're scared out of their minds. And then Will shows up. He's a 12-year-old. He's super courageous, but naive is a good word. So he comes up and they're like, what are you doing? Get down. And Will's lines, I don't have them memorized, but he's basically like, nobody's going to shoot me. I'm a 12-year-old boy. And that's about all he says. But at that point, if he does it right, what is our audience feeling? Scared. Nervous. Who's relating to Will? Who in the audience do you think has put themselves into Will's place? Boys. The little boys, the boys around Will's age, they're like, oh, that's me. I'm in the battle. And nobody's going to shoot me, right? What are the moms thinking?
Somebody get that boy back home.
The moms are thinking about their kids. So now you've got emotional investment. And there's tension.
And even the dads would probably relate to the two soldiers.
Make him, yeah. And the older boys, they're relating to the soldiers. And it's like, get this kid down. You know, he shouldn't be doing, oh, what are we going to do? Stop him. You want your audience to feel something. So now they're feeling nervous. So Will does this whole so he's got his drums. And if he does it right, now if he just says his lines, nobody's going to shoot me. I'm a 12-year-old boy. And there's some inflection there and stuff, but I'm not feeling it. Neither's Will. So, if he's like, nobody's going to shoot me. I'm a 12-year-old boy. And he gives it some time. And he gives it some gestures. He becomes this kid. He is this kid. And he gives the time for the audience to get more nervous and get more nervous. And as soon as he says that, and now what's the audience doing?
Oh no! There are probably going to be some others crying out.
Okay, so it's like, this is like 1 minute into the play. And you should have the whole audience in. And now it's like, what is going on? What's happening? You care. And that's really, really important, not just because you want your audience to care, but it's important for the story. So you don't want drama just for the sake of drama. So Meadow comes out and she's going to swoon later, but if she comes out and she's like, look at me, oh, everything I do, you know, I just want some attention. That doesn't help the story. It would be interesting, but it doesn't help the story. I'd rather you didn't do that. But if she's like, okay, I'm a cocky person, I'm a rich snob lady, I think blind people can't be educated, and I don't care if they hear me say so, because I'm just really rude, which a lot of people thought that. So you're representing a whole group of people that are just, you know? Congrats. So the way she walks is going to be different than the way you walk. Fanny's mother, who has a blind child. So when she walks up, you know, she's probably not going to be like, oh, I'm so happy to meet you. I'm so sweet, right? She's a snob. She's rich. she thinks everybody in the world belongs to her. Now, you're not going to do the, American Girl thing. I'm a girl boss, Let's not do that either. But everybody's going to know by the way you walk and the way you fan yourself. And, they're going to know. It's not just your clothing that tells who you are. So, the reason it's important that people care about Will getting shot is because then the soldiers start talking whatever. Then Ira comes out singing. Now, Ira's the enemy. And I think Tate's the one who has a clear shot of him. Ira is going to die. If Ira dies, he never gets together with Moody or with Fanny. If Ira dies, all those millions of people around the world who got the gospel, it doesn't happen. Everything in the whole play comes down to this one moment. And Tate's got his gun faced right on Ira. He's got a clear shot. He's going to die. And Ira starts singing a hymn. Savior like a shepherd lead us. And he can't do it because it was one of his mom's favorite songs. Now, so Ira's life gets saved. Yay! But that doesn't mean as much if there's not really any danger. If we're just watching this random scene from the war and it's like, oh, the war, okay, it's in the war and they were going to shoot him, but they didn't shoot him, that's not so bad. But this kid already got shot. And so it's like, people are dying. We don't know what happens to him. I think that's really cool, actually. It's like, so does he die? The play does not tell you. So you are left hanging with the danger so that when Ira gets not killed, it means something. So today, you're all going to be drummer boys. Congrats. You can sing the song together, and you're all going to get shot. So, okay. Hopi, can you move the camera so it works on this side of the platform? Because everybody decided to sit here for some reason.
So that what?
It's going to be that side of the platform.
Do you know?
I'll show you in a sec. Your character should be based on who she was this like passionate advocate person, and that should affect the way you act. Emma is this super reserved, quiet, meek person, while her husband is very outgoing and very gregarious, like, hey, how's it going? And she's there, being sweet. So she's going to be different than him. She's going to be different than Phoebe. Everybody's going to be different. Knowing who you are and the character you want to play will help you be a better dramatist. So, all right. So Will's out here. He's going to be over there in the play. But he's standing there. Nobody's going to shoot me. I'm a 12-year-old boy. Now, what's your story, Will? Did you run away from home because you thought it'd be exciting? Did your parents send you because they couldn't afford to feed you? Did you get roped in by some really horrible recruiter who thought this would be a good idea?
Or by an older brother? That happened too.
Aw, you wanted to go with your older brother. Oh, my word. Okay, so you can decide what your backstory is, and nobody else is going to know it, but it helps you act. Because it's different if you ran away than if you're here to be with your older brother. That's different. You're going to act a little bit different. Not a lot, but it matters in the way you think. And then you want to think like your character. It's not like, what's my line, what's my line, what's my line, what's my line. If you are thinking like your character, your face says what you're thinking very often. And your body says it. So if you can feel the way your character feels, it's going to make your acting so much better. Now, when Will gets shot, there are different ways to get shot. I'm just thinking of so many things. Gun with a, rubber band. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you're acting and you get shot. So, what comes to mind? You've seen movies. You've probably never seen anybody get shot, which would be good. Meadow.
Like just kind of like falling, but you also usually when someone gets shot in a movie, they like there's a second where they realize it. And
That
then
like
they,
Wile E. Coyote thing where they're just like,
like
Molly.
serious.
They grasp where they got shot. And
Okay.
then
Put pressure on the
Yeah.
I mean, if someone gets shot in the head or in the heart, something where it's instant, they just immediately go limp. And it's like all of your, they call it dead weight. All of your dead weight just goes to the floor.
Literally. Okay. So, there are all these different ways you could act it out. Will.
You're supposed to get shot in the shoulder,
Yes.
so I'm gonna like.
I'm thinking, let's make it your left shoulder because you always want to face your audience unless it's absolutely necessary that you don't. So you wouldn't want to fall
You
this
should
way
spit off
because now they
stage.
can't see your face. Your face is your most important communicator. Just about always. So, you're going to get shot in your left shoulder. Nobody knows if you're going to die or not. That's not important right now. So, yeah, when I think of it, I think of two distinct different ones. There's the ow, 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 this hurts, okay? There's the moment. You see, it's like, and they stand there. And you can tell it just like dawns on them. And then they just fall. Or there's the big Shazam, you know? And, you flail and you
Step back.
hope this doesn't hurt you too much, Will. But yeah.
So there is a difference between modern bullets and the bullets they used then. The ones they used then would literally push you back because they were bigger and they were round and would like explode into your skin. So with
they're
like
like
modern
cannonballs.
movies, if they get shot in the shoulder, they kind of just jerk a little bit. But back then, it would have like quite literally sent them flying.
Very good, which is why it's good to know your history. Yes.
Pastor said when I'm supposed to get shot, I should just jump backwards and fall.
That sounds
No?
great. Yeah.
Just like
You're going to jump backwards and fall. And I like what you just did. You used your hands too. It wasn't like, ha. I don't want this to hurt, so, or the, the kind of like, oh no. That's what Meadow's going to do. Because she's fainting.
The fake
So
sword.
it's going to be your turn. Everybody's going to come up here and take a turn. And you are going to get shot. Now you can decide what kind of shot you want to be, because we're not all playing Will's part. Will has to play Will's part. But you can decide what kind of shot. Now I want you to be facing this direction, but remember when you get shot it's this way, so that the audience sees you, and I want your face to say something, whether you're shocked, whether you're sad,
Or
you're
you
like,
just keep
oh, I'm
talking.
never going to see my brother again, whether you're just like, I'm a 12-year-old kid, this shouldn't happen to me, or whatever. Make your face say something. And your hands do something. This is why we practice a lot, because it's a lot. But I'm going to give you a hint. There's trying to decide how to act. Okay, so it's like, okay, I want my facial expression to do this, and I want my hands to do this, and I want my feet to do this, and I'm going to jump back, and all that stuff. And then it looks a little wooden sometimes, and it looks like you're acting. But if you can think in character, so you're like, I am this kid, I am in the battle, I'm totally convinced I'm gonna be fine, and then boom, this happens, you are naturally going to do something. It's like, and you're gonna act much more naturally than like, okay, I want my hands to go, and it's like a cheerleading move, and you want it to be natural. So, I'm gonna give you a minute to think about what kind of shot you want to be. And then Meadow and Hope and Madison are going to come up here, and you're each going to take a turn. Okay, so we're going to start with two of you are going to be the soldiers, and then one of you is going to get shot, and then you're going to trade around. So come on over. All right, Hope's getting shot first.
Oh, me.
Yep. Oh, joy. Get it over with, All right, so you're here, and my two soldiers, come here. Two soldiers, basically I want you to just be down here, like on your knees, as if you were fighting or whatever, and you're going to be like, get down, and then I'll do the, or you can even say it. Nobody's going to shoot me, I'm only 12. Now you soldiers, again, remember you're soldiers, here's this kid, you'd like to protect him, and he won't get down, and you're like, and then you see him get shot. So you need that too. And I like the idea, Will, of standing, you're kind of next to them, so that when you fall back, instead of them looking like this, they're going to have to do this. Because that gives the audience more to watch, and they have to do something instead of just be like, Okay.
So do you want me to get shot in the same place that he's gonna get shot?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so soldiers are over here, and Will is on the end.
On the end. Okay.
Okay,
Just
hang on, you're facing me,
Hey, Mom.
because the battle's this
I'm
way.
gonna stand here so I don't
You're at the
fall
edge.
on that.
That's a good idea.
I don't want to break it.
Okay, so are we ready? We're gonna start. And it's like, get down, kid.
get down, kid.
You are a bad drummer.
Drum, you're drumming.
No one's gonna hurt me. Just a 12-year-old boy.
Ow! You stepped on my finger.
Oh yeah, like you're gonna worry about that in the battle. Okay. which I think.
Like I literally
Okay.
just like.
So y'all are soldiers. Molly's getting shot first.
Ragdoll.
Okay.
Get down, kid.
I'm just a 12-year-old kid. No one's gonna shoot me.
She rolled back.
That was good.
Okay.
I see the feet flying in the air.
You're next.
Like you should have done like a roll.
All right. All right.
Just like.
Get down, kid. You're gonna die.
You're gonna die.
I'm only 12.
Okay. Now you looked at her, which is not the end of the world, but your audience can't see you at all. No one's gonna shoot. Okay. So if you are standing, that's a good point though. If you are standing aside, how do you talk to somebody here without talking to someone here?
Emotions.
It's suspending reality a little bit. Everybody pretty much knows when you're on stage, you're talking out. Or at the very, very worst, you're talking here, at least to somebody in your audience. So it's kind of like everybody pretends a little bit. So they're like, get down, kid. It's like, psh, nobody's going to hurt me. I'm only 12. And so you're talking out here, but everybody gets it in a weird sort of way. So go ahead.
Get down, kid.
No one's gonna shoot me. I'm only 12.
Ow.
Oh, fingers. Fingers are dangerous.
Like literally your shoe.
Okay.
Like when you
Play.
fell, it went.
Oh.
Well,
Play hurts. All right, go ahead.
Get down, kid. Someone's gonna shoot you.
Nobody's gonna shoot me. I'm only 12.
See, that's the one
See,
that
nobody
seems
did the
like-
opera version where it takes them 5 minutes to fall.
Woo!
Then I'll never see my brother again. No. All that stuff. Okay. All right, Will. You and me. Rest of y'all can sit down.
Mom,
This is the
Chinese dramas. And then they again take 5
this
minutes
is
to
the grand finale. Here we go. I'm a soldier again. Okay, so this happens, and they're like, "Oh man, a whole lot," and Will comes walking up about right there.
Get down, kid.
No one's gonna shoot a drummer boy. I'm only 12. Oh no.
And now our audience has reacted, and the play is over.
I feel like that's not the kind of reaction you want, though.
Okay, come here, Will. Yep.
Do it
You need to
right.
shot your left shoulder. So you need to jump back so that the audience, yeah.
Don't play with me.
So,
Oh no!
so it's like,
Like,
oh, you know, and you can,
Mom,
What'd you step on?
Mom, do not fall, please.
nobody's finger was there. Okay, so you ready? Get down, kid.
No one's gonna shoot a drummer boy. I'm only 12.
Other shoulder.
Still going on
This
there.
shoulder.
Stop throwing yourself back. Just like,
Okay, you can throw yourself back. Just do that.
Stop saying. "Ah."
Okay, you ready? Get down, kid.
No one's gonna shoot me.
There you go. Yeah. Okay, good. Instead of being blind, you're going to be deaf. And then you're going to start to notice how much do you pick up because of what you see, not just what you hear. So you watch movies, how much do you notice because of their actions? What do you see in the background? Do you notice like the side people, your random extras? Extras can kill a movie. Kill a movie. Yes, Will.
We can't close our ears. How are we gonna
Yeah.
Ah.
turn the volume all the way down?
Cotton, toilet paper, earplugs.
Oh,
I personally like swimmer's earplugs, those little gooey things. I tear them in half and stick them in my ears at night. Or your mom might have earplugs, or she'll just toilet paper, roll it up, stick it in there. Or mute button on your TV. That works. And then when
Or
somebody
your
comes in and
sister's.
says something, you're like, oh. So you want to notice things. Now I want to talk about extras because if you're ever in a scene and you're not actually the one acting, you know, like the main character, most of you are going to be doing that at some point, or even multiple scenes during the play. You are very important because there can be a scene. It's from, so there was this Chinese drama, and so all these people are in historical Chinese outfits, and it got to be this famous show, but not because it was awesome, because they kept doing things that were just. One time there's this scene, this guy's running, and you can see his tennis shoes under his historic outfit. Or he moves his hand and you can see his watch. Or there's a water bottle in the background. These kind of things, it might have been the coolest story in the world and really well directed and really well acted, but if there's something distracting like that, your audience, their feelings, which is what you're going for, completely change. If Fanny Crosby is giving the world's most emotional speech, and everybody should be crying, and there's some kid in the back going, or like, hi mom, or he's throwing up, bad idea, stuff's happening, and he's not, or a lot of times your extras, when they're extras, are just waiting until it's their turn to do something, and so they're just there. And so somebody's making this passionate speech, and it's like, my turn yet? My turn yet? Like kids standing in line. If you ever watch kids standing in line, it's totally boring. Okay, so here's my point. If you are on this stage, you are acting. Every moment you are up here, I want you to think somebody's looking at me. And that applies to like when you're singing in the choir too. How would my character be acting in this setting? So for example, the Chicago fire starts. When the city basically burns down, everybody's supposed to be panicking. If one person is not panicking, it's over. It's like everybody's like trying to feel what they're supposed to feel because they like you and they want to be good in the play and all that kind of stuff. It's like, yo, you did a good job. But if that one person's just kind of like, run, okay, then they have to really try to feel in the scene. So what you want to make sure that you do, your part in the play, is that you are making sure the story is being told as well as you possibly can. And so if Fanny is making a speech, okay, for example, when the mom comes in and here's the baby and the quack doctor, and the homeschool fellowship is seeing this, and they're just like, what is going on? And the one kid, I think it's Naomi, she's like, Mom always said history came alive when we studied it, but y'all can see this too, right? And so everybody's kind of like, what? So the homeschool fellowship is looking at this, and they should all be kind of like, I can't believe we can see this. This is happening. It's come to life. And if somebody's just sitting there, it's kind of like, you lose that. You want your audience to feel with you. And then this stuff over here, you really want your audience to feel this. And so the mom comes out with the baby, and the quack doctor's like, I'm going to put this mustard poultice on her eyes. Now again, people should feel something at that point. What should they feel?
What are you doing?
Yes. And so the mom, her job is to communicate that so much that even people out here who don't know what a mustard poultice is and that it's going to fry her eyes out for the rest of her life are going to get that this is not a good idea. And so she's communicating anxiety, fear, all that kind of stuff. Because back then, a baby having a fever is not like now. They didn't have Tylenol and all these things to bring the fever down. It's no big deal. A fever was dangerous, and people died a lot. Like pneumonia, you got pneumonia, you died. End of story. Again, I don't want to be princess in a castle because I've had pneumonia and I'd rather not be dead. And I'd really rather not have my head cut off, so we'll just get that together. So she's communicating anxiety. What should the homeschool group be communicating watching this?
Anxiety.
Wow.
Yeah, wow, anxiety, fear. Oh my word, what's going to happen to that baby? And you don't have to say that. Oh my word, what's going to happen to that baby? Your face says it. So give me a face. Show me. Great, awesome. That's good. I'm catching this from you. So whoever I'm looking at in the whole play, whoever I'm watching, I understand and I feel. Does that make sense? You should be such a good extra. Now, you don't want to be a distracting extra. Have you ever heard a choir where there's like one person in it who just wants to be Pavarotti or whatever, and they're just like, I'm the star? And even if they can't sing well, or like the alto, there's 10 altos and there's 2 sopranos. And so it's like, great is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. And I'm performing. Welcome. And it's so distracting because the person getting the most attention is not the person who should be getting the most attention. You know what I mean? So if there is a side person who's overacting and drawing the attention of everybody to them, now you're not helping the story again, remember? The goal is the story is you want to help the story in every way that you can. And so say something terrible is happening, the Chicago fire, and you're one of the people, and you're supposed to panic. Okay, now remember, you want to think like your character, so it's not like I'm supposed to panic. Oh no, what do I do? You know, so it's like, think like what would you think if the place just started burning and you're like, where are we gonna go and where are my kids and I gotta blah blah blah, and so you're just really stressed out and you're trying to figure out what to do and where's my should I go to my house, should I escape somewhere else, how am I gonna get out of here? It's not like call 911, there's no phones and the fire trucks didn't show up and the wind is blowing and
All the houses are made of wood.
this is tragic. It's not just like, oh, the church is gonna burn down, the city, people are gonna die, it's really bad, and so you are terrified because you don't know where to go. Is the fire this direction, this direction, this direction? Maybe I should try to go home. So you're over here and you decide to run over there. Now you can decide, who are you in that moment? Well, it depends on your character. The Emma character, who is very meek and quiet and whatever, she's going to be worried, but she's going to think about it, she's going to gather her kids, she's going to calmly deal with this. So you see the anxiety in a sense, but it's very calculated. She's not going to be screaming because that's not her character. Ah, what do we do? Oh no, where's my children? She's going to be like, okay, kind of like your parents do when there's a crisis. She's going to be more like that. If you're a child, where's my mom? You're going to be acting in a way that fits who you are as a character. Phoebe, she's this passionate, I'm going to take charge, I'm going to do things. She's going to be running to the people she wants to protect, so she's probably going to go after Emma and be like, Emma, get your kids, you go, I'm going to make sure la 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 la. So it's not just everybody run around like, in the cartoons, and they're all walking into each other. That makes it funny. It's not supposed to be funny. So in each setting, think about my character, how would they respond to what's actually happening here? And then you will usually know how to act. And if you aren't sure, do it in a mirror or record yourself, which we will be doing throughout this class. And it will help because you'll watch yourself and you'll be like, oh, I was doing all the things, but my face wasn't there. It's like, okay, my face needs work, or my face is doing all the things, and I forgot that I always have this weird nervous habit that I do this weird thing and it's distracting. There's just stuff we don't notice about ourselves until we watch ourselves. And so when you are the main character, it's probably when you're going to be focusing on how you act, like, oh, this is important, everybody's going to be looking at me. But I want you to remember, this is very, very important. Every second you are on this stage, you are acting. Don't ever zone out. Like when you're in the choir and the pastor's preaching, but you're stuck sitting up there because the place is full, and you're just sort of there, and you don't want to do anything because you don't want to be distracting, because if the pastor's right there and they're videotaping it for, like 1 million people or something, you don't want to pick that time to be like, I really wish we weren't recording right now. Okay, so think about that. And I got used to that when I was in college. I was in a choir, and once or twice a year we were the ones on TV. And it is going out to who knows how many thousands of people. And you're sitting there and the pastor's there, and you have to think about the fact that you're not expecting everybody to be staring at you, but if one person's staring at you or 10 people are staring at you, or you don't want to make them stare at you, sorry pastor, and sorry person in front of me, I spit on, it's just bad. So you don't want to act so much that everybody's looking at you if it's not your time. But you also don't want to just be a mannequin. Got it? Okay. So for those of you who joined us, welcome, thank you. We are going to be continuing the drama class. Y'all are worth it. We're going to invest, we're going to practice, we're going to do all this cool stuff and learn good things. So what we're planning to do, this week you are going to be deaf for 3 hours instead of blind. So stick some things in your ears or just sit there while you're watching a movie And at least 1 hour of that, I do want you to actually be watching a movie and not with subtitles. I want you to see how much do you pick up, how much do you see when you don't have the sound, how much do you understand about what's going on. And you'll discover you can tell how people are feeling. They don't have to tell you. They're showing you if they're good actors. And watch the secondary people. Watch the people in the background. You notice it's like, okay, 2 people went here, and 2 people went here. It's all staged, just so you know. Very, very carefully. And if they do it wrong, it's distracting. So I was just watching something the other day, and I was like, whoa, they needed to have him practice. Things were happening in the front, Superman saving the world or whatever he's doing. And there was this one dude in the back whose job was to walk across. I don't know if this is what normally a actor, he was like, I'm walking on TV. And he was kind of like, and I was just like, what? So just pay attention to that. Be aware. Yes, thank you. So you're going to be deaf. Pay attention to the people in the background. What are they doing? And next week, I want you to come back, not with a dramatic reading, but be prepared to act for about a minute. You may choose your spot in the play. You may choose to do a little skit with other people. You can be a Bible character. It doesn't matter to me. But no sound. No sound. So you're going to get up here for 1 minute, and this time is whether you've practiced or not. And you are going to do something. Yes?
What about pantomime?
That's just a mime, not a panto. Sure. Give me something, but I want there to be some emotional something or another. So, Will, if you want to get shot again, go for it.
No way.
But no sounds. Only what we can see. And you'll be amazed at how much you can communicate without any words. Understood? Questions? Okay, so anybody who hasn't paid for the class can go ahead and bring their money next week, and we are set. If you did not get an email, I'll turn this off. See you later, Andrew. Hope you feel better. If you